Hey guys, what's going on, and welcome back to Tiny Blue Games. My name, of course, is Seesaw or Chris, and today we're doing a follow-up video on the Healing Elementalist. We've got a bit of feedback on the first video that people wanted to see some of what makes this spec, and this is the video for that. If you've missed the video of the actual gameplay, be sure to check it out. I'll link it here and in the description below, so you can be sure to check it out after you watch the build if you're interested in seeing some gameplay with this build. But without further ado, let's get into it. So the big thing, we're going to be using staff, obviously. We're using this for, well, it's not obvious, but I'll tell you why it's obvious. It's obvious because we want a lot of the skills associated with it. The number one ability, your number one skill here with the staff, is a heal. It heals for, when I have benevolent healing and all this stacked on, it heals allies for about 900 wherever they're near it, and you can heal pretty quickly with it. So it definitely keeps people up when you have your other heals off cool, or on cooldown. Sorry. The next one is the ice spike. Just great for AoE damage, because that's really what we're focusing on with this build. We have AoE heals, that's our number one priority, AoE damage, just to constantly do some supportive damage, and slows / things that make us faster to survive. Our number 3 ability with the staff is a geyser that does a lot of healing in a group, great for team fights. Number 4 is a sort of frost area of effect, and it slows enemies, which makes it better for us to escape, as well as makes it easier for our teammates to do damage to the enemies. And our number 5 is one of the better heals we have to offer, Healing Rain. Great big area of effect, and it just gives us regeneration for a long time when you stay in it, which heals you for just a ton over a while. So as long as you use these abilities off of cooldown, you should be able to do a fair bit of healing. That being said, it's not that we just stay in water. Any good elementalist will tell you that you want to switch through your attunements as best as you can. Obviously, water is going to be where we're in a lot for the healing. But when you are pretty confident and you can dash out some damage, you can come into this spec. You've got a few movement abilities, which is great, and you've got some AoE damage that you can pop down to help your team out. Like the number 2, the number 5, and the number 3 all are great just for getting a bit of quick damage out. And then we can move to the electricity one here, or air, air attunement rather. What we have here, the big one for air, is we've got this stun field, which is huge for team fights, obviously, as well as for stacking swiftness. Speaking of swiftness, we've got increased movement speed for everyone. We've got a pushback and a blind, so it's more of a utility thing if you're going to that. And finally, we've got earth, which I go into if I've got not much else to do. I mean, in combat, I'll go into it a few times. It's got the projectile reflection, which is great depending on the situation you're in, as well as it's got a few ground targeted stuff that you can, like it's got the wall here. It's got a few things you can play with, especially if you're fighting against someone and need a few things to mess them up on, especially chases. Actually, I guess when you're getting chased, I use air and earth a lot. And then more in actual combat, I'll use the water and the fire a lot. So that's I guess what I'd say about both of them. That being said, let's move on to our other side here, and then we'll get into the traits, obviously, and what our stats and all that are. The Ether Renewal is what I take, and I take this one just because when you actually activate it, you're pretty much not going to die. The amount of healing it does, I've never died through casting it. Another way I've considered going was with the Signet of Restoration, which grants health every time you cast, and heal yourself, obviously, if you ever have to use it. This is great if you're, capable of not... You're going to get focused as a healer, so if you're getting focused, I stay with the Ether Renewal, but if you're going to be able to not get focused, like, say you were in PvE, it would be great for Signet of Restoration. Maybe even in World v World, where you're not as noticed. But in team fights and SPVP, you're going to get noticed so quickly that I go with something to keep yourself alive, not something to help, just heal you constantly. That's my thought on it. You can make a choice between it depending on what you play like. If you find you're getting focused too much, just switch it out. It's a really nice, easy thing to change about the build to make it more about focusing your heals or just constant heals. Next thing we go for, we have Armor Suit here. Grants us stability, stun break, and protection. This is great if you're trying to get a cast off and you know people are going to try and stop the cast. Say like you're 30% health left and you're trying to get off a rejuvenate or something like that. You pop that on beforehand and it might be able to like let you stay alive for it and get you out of something. Or if you're knocked to the ground and you need to get up and heal quickly, it's a great thing for that. Signet of Air, increased movement speed. That's really what I take it for. When you use it, it's another stun break, which is something we're kind of focusing on a lot in this game. Alright, a lot in this this build here. If you're stunned, you can't heal. And that's when they're going to kill you. They're going to stun you, tie you up, and destroy you. You want as much get out as you can, and that's a great one for it. And then just the increased movement speed helps you a lot, because a lot of your things you can actually obviously cast while you're moving, right? So if you can move around and avoid attacks while healing, it's going to really increase your survivability. Next thing we take is Mist Form, also a stun break. All three of these are stun breaks now, and you're starting to get a good idea of why. And then the invuln while you're moving around, which is great. So it's just a great get out of stuff thing. Any of these could be switched depending on how you like to play. I just like to play where I never like to be on the ground taking damage to my face and die. I always like to be dying while I'm actually casting something, like where I thought, I had a chance here. I hate being stunned in this game. Our ultimates, Elementalist ultimates aren't the best by any means, but you can work with them. So you've got the weapon, which is more of a damage. You've got the whirlwind, which is more of a knock around kind of thing, but it's gotten a bit different than what it used to be. And then you have the Glyph of Elementalist. I go with this one because I like to summon the Ice Elementalist when I'm water, because he heals. I just like the extra healing. You could summon any of them that are like, the stun isn't bad for the Air Elementalist, or if you just need full-on damage, you go with Fire, obviously. It's a very situational ultimate, and it doesn't make or break your game, obviously, because it's not the biggest thing about you, which is nice in some sense. Like some classes, their ultimate really helps them kill or survive. Ours is just nice. It's a support to a support. Like we're already a support, and then it's just supporting us some more. So it's kind of cool that way. So let's talk about the PvP build. And we're going to actually talk about stats first and then move into the traits right after. So we've got our staff there. Sigils I put on it. I put on charge of a sigil of life for the healing stacks. Now you could put this on, or you could put on sigil of benevolence, which actually increases your outgoing heal. And you're already having some stacks of this from the traits, so it's debatable whether you should go for just increased heals in general or the benevolence. I prefer the well, it's hard. I've tried both of them, and they both definitely have their ups and downs. I would, if you're gonna try out the spec, I would switch that out every so often, since you can like just try one game with it, try one game out. But I personally leave it on life. I don't know why. Maybe I have better games that time. Maybe it's luck. Who knows? But I keep it to life. And then for the other one, because you can't have both of them on at the same time, I should mention that you can only have one that stacks attributes on at once, or else you'd put both of them on and just be OP, right? But you can only put one on. The other one is 30% chance on hit to heal nearby allies around you. Just increase your you're going to be using your number one basic attack on an enemy, and then if there's more healing going around with it, it's perfect. It's beautiful. So that's what I choose, since you can't stack both of those other things at the same time. For runes, we take Rune of the Monk. So healing, boon duration, which includes regeneration, healing, 10% boon duration, 25% chance to when struck to heal for a small amount, 100 healing, that's a ton of healing, and then plus 10% outgoing heal effectiveness to allies, and that's why we take it, that bottom one there. Perfect. It's great to have that, and it just really, really helps having 10% extra healing. That means everything you're doing to your allies is just 10% better, and you definitely notice it stacked with what else we're going to do in our traits. And then finally, I take Cleric Amulet for the toughness and the healing. I mean, it's an obvious choice, so I'm not going to get hugely into it. For traits, we're going to take 2 in Earth Magic, 6 in Water, and 6 in Arcane. And we'll just talk about Earth. I just put my this is the point that you could move anywhere you wanted to. Gain toughness when using channeling skill. This is great because you've got a bunch that you kind of channel, so there's a lot of toughness you're going to have whenever you're using that, right? So it's kind of a really nice thing because you're always casting, it seems like, and if you have toughness while you're casting, that's just extra toughness on you. But feel free to put it into anything else that you feel is more useful. That is kind of, you can move around. Water magic, we take aquatic benevolence, and this is kind of what this whole build is focused on. 25% increased heals when healing allies, plus the 10% from our armor, plus if you had the stacks. That's a lot of extra healing when it heals someone else, because you're already healing huge on yourself, and if you can think that it's getting upgraded when you're healing allies, and it's almost necessary that it gets upgraded, because when you think about it, in this game, you're not hitting everybody with your heals. Say like you do this, you miss some people with this all the time. Like someone's standing out here like a, you know, they're stupid because they're not standing with their healer, but you're going to miss people, and that you just need the ones that you actually hit to hit bigger on them, because everything should be hitting you. You should be smart enough to cast the healing area of effect and get in it yourself. You don't know if everyone else is going to be that smart, so that's why I take it, and honestly, there's no better way to go for a healer. Reduce recharge of water skills. Recharge on all water weapon skills. That's just for your heals. More heals, more skills that heal, more heals. It's just smart. And then we're going to go to gain regeneration whenever critically hit. This is just a basic thing to help us survive a bit more. The things you get here: do more damage when you for each boon on you. We don't deal a ton of damage, so any extra % of damage we can get, because we're going to have a lot of boons on us, so we may as well do a bit more damage. Heal nearby allies when attuning to water. This is actually a pretty big heal. So I take note, actually, to switch back into my water stance when I'm bursting into combat. Like, don't do it right before you get into combat. Try and do it while you're actually near the people. And finally, whenever your nearby allies regenerate health with you, you are attribute to water. So, it's just more heals, and these are things you're gonna get anyways, so I would put the 6 in and get the like, this is the cornerstone to the build, so you may as well do it. Flame burst. Now we're looking at the arcane thing here. Flame burst, that's not evasive arcana is actually what it is. I don't know why it shows you the top part. That's just for the fire. What it does is at the end of your roll, it's going to do something different depending on what you're in. So, for instance, if I'm in water, it's actually going to heal allies at the end of my roll, which is very handy because you can sort of roll and heal yourself for some more. We've talked about it on Guardian builds, how their actual heal from their roll can be incredible sometimes, like well over 1,000, which helps you survive immensely. And then it does damage, obviously, in fire and all these different things for the other ones, but I usually use it while I'm in water and try to do as many rolls around people that I'm actually near. Next we have arcane precision. Skills have a chance to apply a condition on critical hits. That's not huge for us. I mean, it's just stuff that we'll be applying every so often. Whenever you have increased revive speed, then you gain a buff. We gain minus 10% incoming damage if you're in the water, or if you're in lightning, you can stun nearby attacking foes with an electric shock, which is actually really nice while you're trying to revive someone, and it's at an increased speed, which is kind of the biggest part of this. So you're going to be the support, so you're going to be the guy who goes down and tries to heal people as much as you can. Say you stack your 2 healing fields on top of you while you're healing them, there's a very small chance you're going to get killed unless they've got a ton of burst damage. It's a great one to choose. Finally, we have blasting staff. Area of effects attacks with staff are larger. More people in the area of effect, more chance of them getting healed. Like, this just bigger. This one's pretty much the entire base circumference, which is great here, and then the rain is actually just huge, so it's just it works well with the build. These are my thoughts on the build. I know you can switch out a lot of stuff if you wanted to, and that's kind of what I like about builds in Guild Wars 2. No one's gonna have exactly the identical build to you unless they want to, which you definitely can. I find this build works really well. I've had a lot of fun with it. So definitely try it out if you're interested in healing. And like I said before, check out the video of me using it in some PvP action if you want to get some ideas of how to use it. Not saying I'm great at it, but I find this is the most effective healing I've done into this game to date. I've tried it on some other classes, professions, I guess, and this is what I've enjoyed the most for healing so far. So thanks anyone who's watched this, and thanks for leaving comments about wanting to see the build. I'll be sure to put out some more Guild Wars 2 footage and some more Guild Wars 2 builds in the near future. Thanks for watching, guys. Thanks for watching. If you liked this, like it. If you have a comment about it or a suggestion for a future video, be sure to leave one. And of course, subscribe. I mean, only one of these has a beam of neon light going through it. Also, be sure to yell at us at your favorite social media website. We're always listening, but only if you yell. Thanks.